Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome into Rico Coin Report. Welcome into our little afternoon discussion. It's Thursday, the 28th, I believe. This month is just flying by. And here we are. I do believe it's the 28th. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this month is already over. The month of March marched right past us, and here we are, leading into April. And we're just right into the year. 1/4 of the month of the year is already over. I believe 2019 has been an awakening for a lot of people. I think it's going to speed up. And here we go. Let's get into it. The value of self-identity. This is very important for people to realize that to not be able to identify and know who you are is a loss, I think, for a lot of people. I think it's a loss because you're so important, but only if you realize how valuable you are. Now, a lot of times we get mad at people, we get mad at things, which usually lead to people. And I think it's because we undervalue our potential. We undervalue our strengths. And we may not realize that we're not really ready for certain things. We all want to think that we're ready for everything and we're ready to take on the world. And I think that's good. I think that's good to have a positive, optimistic mindset. But I think it's also important for people to realize that it's okay to not be ready for everything. And if you're over ready for things, it's because I think you may have been waiting too long for certain things. But I also think that sometimes certain people just need to make sure that they feel very, very empowered or very, very comfortable before making action, which is okay. Because I remember when I was used as an example when I first coming into America, and lived in a society, really, growing up in the massive life of some kind of off-the-grid living with, hold on one second, this lady in front of me, there we go. Living in out of society sometimes doesn't prepare you for living in a society, obviously, because we need to cope ourselves, get ourselves ready for living in boundaries with chains, and it's very interesting to think that society is a social chain. It's literally chains on your opinions, and we almost, in a sense, by living in a society and accepting the way things are, we have just been like, okay, it's just the way things are going to be. And, there's not much we can do about it. And it's true. I mean, you're not going to be able to change masses with a snap of a button, a snap of your fingers. But I don't think we should be so accepting of it as we easily are. And I think that's in a sense why the narrative, the control, the movements that do happen over a long period of time is because it's a psychological process for people to accept things, okay? It's just like any psychological experiment, whether it's on rats or sheep or sheeple. You have to realize that the mind has to take time for it to grasp the truth, right? And so we have this adoption of accepting things, right? Accepting that we use money that has no backing, that we have criminals in power, that the very systems of organization and organized governments are fraudulent and don't, stand for what they're supposed to stand for. And we accept that. We don't change it. We accept it, and we accept that we may not be happy with it, but what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do to change that? And the most probable answer to that is nothing, you know. Um, but there are things you can do, okay? You can talk about it. That's a perfect way to, in a sense, talking about it rather than just not talking about it is, I think, the least thing we can do. I think little things help the big problem. And that's why I'm always giving you guys information like about Bitcoin, because it's sound money. It's one thing you can do to help change the world. You can talk to people about Bitcoin. You can use Bitcoin. You can educate yourself on it. You can educate communities. You can try to onboard people to use Bitcoin. You can practice investing into it, or investing into your time into health, because I think that's another thing that people aren't taking the time out of their life to do. Talking about things that can help you in the long run, whether it's when it comes to your health, is important. And by talking about it, at least it gives you the information. What you do with the information, that's your choice, okay? And it reminds me of the idea that Morpheus, when he had Neo in that room, and Trinity says, "You're gonna meet Morpheus," you know? And she said to Neo to be honest with him, because he knows a lot more than, you know, most do and stuff. And she was explaining to him, to Neo, that this is the one who's been searching for you. This is your mind, Morpheus, the mind. And Trinity is supposed to represent the heart, as if you take what's his face's perspective on it. I just watched a lecture by him today, actually, on my break. I can't remember his name. So my mind is like hogwash right now, because I've been just nonstop today. Yeah, I think that when Morpheus was telling Neo, hold on a second, guys. Let me see if I can give you guys a nice view about the Matrix and how, oops, one second. People, let's see if you guys can see that. Oh, it's a bit foggy today. Let's see. There's the old Eiffel Tower. Little French horn, even though it's from Germany, for the Eiffel Tower. La Tour d'Eiffel. We sit at the red light. But anyways, so what I was getting at? I was getting at the fact that okay, that's what fact it was. Excuse me, I had to wrap my mind around it for a second. Self-identity, the value of self-identity. Not realizing that how valuable you are and how valuable your heart and mind is something they don't want you to know, because then they can make you literally just another battery to their system, another ongoing sheeple that isn't aware of the value of its worth. Okay, and if you invest into things like your health, and you invest into information and research on the very things that will help you in the long run, you'll start to realize that the origins of everything that's evil and negative comes down to keeping you from that information. There's this report just recently done, 2 reports done by James Corbett about science and research, and how science, quote unquote, science mainstream, and research mainstream it's a control like everything else. They've got, like, they're paying people to do information, and they don't they give biased information, not even really accurate information. And now you've got independent researchers coming out and having people like in Japan to do radiation therapy or radiation research on what's going on with the area. Uh, Fukushima, after it happened. It's funny because they were replacing people and relocating people from Hiroshima located areas that were supposedly, quote unquote supposedly, meaning it's not really, it wasn't actual, high radiation areas to supposedly, quote unquote, not really, but areas. And what they found out was the quite opposite, that the people were being relocated to high radiation areas. So that independent research just goes to show that the whole thing was actually not good. It was actually bad. They were actually not even putting people into areas. They were putting people into dangerous areas. They were actually putting people into not safe areas, into highly radiated areas. And so just that independent report went to show that the control, or the quote-unquote science magazines and the science researchers who are government and corporate high spenders and paid profiled contributors, were actually completely false and lying. And that's the exact thing we talk about here at Rico Coin Report. False money, false research, the lies that you live in, the lies we are swimming in every single day, and the societies that are tied together by the lies. And the people that don't even question the very waters that we swim in and that we have to be a part of every single day. If we were to think that we're in a water world and the water is information that keeps us tied together in a society, the very oceans of the world and information is society, and all of it is lies, and we're actually not even in water. We're actually free agents, able to do whatever we want, walk about and leave the surface at our free will, based off decision, rather than to enslave ourselves, which is true. If enough people stopped working or stopped putting money into banks or stopped following the laws, if enough people together, unitedly, organized, came together in every single country, every single city, every single part of the world, and decided no, there's nothing they could do. They could try. I mean, I'm talking about even the military level people. I'm talking about even political people were like, you know what, we're done with it too. Even at the highest levels, they just decided, we're done. And that there was such a mass amount of people who said we're done. That awakening and value of self-worth and individuality and identity would deconstruct their web, okay? The matrix, I like to call it, the matrix of lies. And that would be epic. I think that's what every single truther wants. It's what every single Bitcoin maximalist wants. They want people to stop using fiat money. They want people to stop listening to the media, to stop buying into shill altcoins, to stop doing a lot of things that are wasting their time, our time. I think electricity could be used for more sound systems than things like Bitcoin, okay? Hard money. And yet we have casinos on 24 hours a day in Sin City, in this Las Vegas city that is just pure death. It's not good. It's drugs, false flags, illusion of disillusion. I mean, literally, they call it Sin City for a reason, okay? And it saddens me, honestly, that we've been living like this for so long. And yeah, I just can't believe that it's still going on. And I think the reason why is because the people that have been here for so long dealing with this are finally dying off. They're finally starting to croak, have their last breath. The war is starting to get, is starting to be lost, okay? And I think that a lot of people are starting to wake up to the fact that the evil doesn't pay off. In the end, you get thrown under the bus by being evil, okay? You don't actually win. Because once you start doing evil, once you start doing things that you don't agree with, then eventually it catches up to you. Eventually, the evil eats you alive, and you get thrown under the bus by the very proxies that you were in cahoots with, okay? And that's very important for people to realize, that the very evil things in the world around you will come down and chop you in pieces when they are going down. They will take you down there with you. There's a reason why the Clintons aren't being taken down. There's a reason why all the evil pedophilia in Hollywood, all around the world, things like Lolita Express, and all of these deep state, dark, morbidly disgusting, Illuminati, Freemasonry, globalist, banking, pedophilic, psychopaths aren't being taken down yet. And it's because of one thing. They don't have any respect for each other, okay? And when it's like that, then we start to realize that they're a dog-eat-dog world. They don't care about you, they don't care about themselves, they don't care about each other. And when that happens, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before they cut and throw each other under the bus, okay? And that, my friend, is what they are. They are a disgusting, evil entity, energy that resides in our world. And the only way to get rid of them is to talk about them, is to discuss what they're doing, is to awaken ourselves to how to defend yourself, how to clean your mind, your body, your soul from them, how to defend yourself from them in the future. And then, only then, can you really change the world for the best. Only then will you be able to put yourself in a place in a world that's going to be able to get yourself prepared for the evil. Okay, it's coming every single day, in the money, and the media, and the control, and the very systems that oppress you, okay? The very systems that we allow to govern us. The very systems that have governed and lied and filled us with hate, fear, sadness, sorrow, and control, all right? It's insane to think that we now finally have a tool, monies, that is clean, sound money. And yet, so many people who are looking for an out from all of this couldn't be bothered investing their time, their life, a moment, their consciousness, a breath into sound money. it's mind-blowing to me. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And maybe they're not aware of it yet. Maybe they're aware of it. That's the way I like to think about it. I like to think about it as they're just not ready for it. I like to think about it as if maybe they haven't been unplugged from the matrix yet. They haven't dealt with the cognitive dissonance yet. And they'll get there. I hope. I really do. Because it's very heavy and hard for a lot of us to keep carrying on this weight. It's one of those things that we just keep going up this huge cliff, this hill, this battle. And if everybody just started to assist with it, it would make it so much easier. If we could all pitch in, grab a shovel, grab a pick, grab some water, anything you can do to kind of help bring down the walls that have been forced around us, our hearts, our minds, our futures, have disillusioned us to our past. And this, I think, is a lot easier than we realize. And it's crazy to think that if everybody just took a little piece of that, it would be insanely easy. And that actually could happen overnight if people all stuck in and decided. It would take some miracle, and I don't know what it would be, but it would have to take something that affected every single person to the second. It's kind of like yesterday when I said, imagine having less air all of a sudden. Imagine having less water. The moment you have something you take for granted, something that you overvalue, is the moment you start to realize that the value of something is undervalued, okay? If your airway gets blocked, caught, or something, and you can't breathe as easily anymore, the very oxygen taking in right now, it becomes worth a lot more, all right? It's gonna take something like that in order for us to really make a change. Last night I had this dream, and the dream was, and I have this dream quite a bit, I was sitting on this beach, and it was, I don't know why, but it was nighttime, and everybody was at the beach, and it was as if it was daylight, but it was nighttime, okay? Everybody was hanging out the beach, just as if it was sunny, but for some reason, in the daytime, there was just no sun, or if it was hidden, and it was dark, and the water was receding massively, like it was just tons of, the water of the beaches were huge. Normally, you would have space as usual on the beach, packed beach, but it was like a ton of people. And it must have been the beaches of Sydney, because I could remember it. And there was tons of people sitting out, relaxing and stuff. And the water just kept receding and receding, and people kept walking farther and farther to get towards the water. And then towards the end of the dream, I started realizing that on my left, way farther away from me, people were starting to run sideways towards us, like towards back towards land and mainland. I was realizing why. Because this huge tsunami was forming. This massive tsunami was forming. And people weren't even aware of it until it was too late. And this thing was coming, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And that's why the sun wasn't there. The sun was being blinded out by a massive wave. And the water was receding so far that the sunlight was being blocked out. And people started to realize what was going on. And the rest of the dream was just me running away from this huge wave, the tsunami. And I made it into the city, and everybody was panicking, and there were people on buses, and on trains and cars trying to figure out what they were going to do, and this wave just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it reminded me, after I woke up, of the debt, the lies, the system of oppression that we live in. It reminded me of the control getting bigger and bigger, and people using, just naive to the things they were using to help get this thing bigger. And walking towards the water, trying to get more closer to the water. And as the water receded more and more and more, people were like literally just walking towards it. And the tsunami was getting bigger and bigger. And I just realized, and there was this I don't know why, but there was, I was like in a train or somewhere, and I was looking at the TV, and people in the football stadium, in a rugby stadium, were running as well. And because the tsunami was getting so big that the sportscasters were thinking it's raining, and they're like, why is it raining? And then realized that the wave was actually breaking, got to the point where it started to break, and they were feeling the drops of water come down. And that's when it started to crash. And the implosion started. The wave just started to come in and take out the city and the people. And the first people that were going were the ones who didn't want to deal with the truth, that were just like, no, the wave's not coming. People, no, it's not. There's no fiat bubble. There's no housing bubble. The politics, they're real. They wouldn't lie to us. All of those people that weren't truthers, I hate to say truthers, but weren't into doing research or into seeking more, the people that couldn't be bothered talking about these kind of things, were the ones that were being swept up. While the rest of us, and not the rest of us, because the majority of the rest of us aren't even that close, but while some of us were still being pulled up, and then there was others who were already out of the city, and then the smartest of us were getting on boats and preparing ourselves, and it was insane. That's what it comes down to. People have to realize that their safety and their security every single day can be pulled out from underneath you, can be destroyed by a tsunami wave in a matter of seconds if this control wanted it to, or if it just decided to, do its thing and destroy. Destruction is what evil knows best. Okay. The Bolshevik genocide. Bolshevik revolution, was it genocide? The World War I, the destruction of World War II, wars that happened in the Middle East due to America wanting to make sure they controlled the petrol. All of the crashes from the banking industries, 9/11, all the false flags, all of these things, even the shooting down in New Zealand, that's the control, and that's what they can do. They can do whatever they want, when they want, how they want, where they want, okay? If you guys really want to believe that these things happen naturally, and it's just one person or a group of people who want to make us, make some kind of statement, the world is a stage, okay? Bottom line. They use the world as a place to make messages, clear messages. We can do what we want, when we want, like we want, as we want. JFK said it best. He said he was going to expose this new world order, this globalist order. He said he was going to, and he told people indirectly about these evil wars that were happening in the night. And all of his speeches were clearly speaking about this global world order of banking systems. President Jackson, he was another one who said it. Abraham Lincoln, he was another one who talked about it. I think it was Thomas Edison who was another one who talked about it right before he gave up his presidency. Another president, what was the one that signed the Federal Reserve Act? I think it was Woodrow Wilson who I don't know if it was Woodrow Wilson, but the one who signed the Federal Reserve Act, right after he said he destroyed the sovereignty of America, that he now you can officially destroyed America's future. It's always about the money, you guys, okay? Because we're always using money for everything. That is what we put value into things. We value things not enough. We undervalue things, okay? One thing I have learned is traveling a lot and going into other countries and being an American, maybe that's just more so. We don't value things enough, okay? We don't value ourselves enough. We don't value identity and self-individuality. And there's this new movement to try to overcompensate people, to overvalue themselves individually. It's good to be aware and to identity and have self-identity, but it's also very important to realize the value of yourself in a community. How valuable you can be in a community. How valuable you are. And then you can start to really give value. I hope you guys are getting value from these talks, these conversations. Because if you're not, then you're wasting your time, okay? I'm you because by talking about these things, I open my heart and soul and energy and future to the universe. And I want you to as well. I want you to give the universe love because it loves you. And by opening yourself up to that love, you're protecting your future. It's self-protection, okay? That's just important for your own safety. I hope you guys are aware of how important it is to love yourself. I hope you guys are also aware of how important you are, period. And just so many things about how beautiful you each person are, each individual is. A grain of sand, enough of them, makes up a beach. Enough cells makes up tissue. Enough tissues working together make up an organism, okay? Through organs, through systems of homeostasis. Every little thing is made up of so many little other things. And every little thing is worth so much. And for the next building block to happen, the things that underneath, the structures underneath, they also need to be there for them, for the next level, for it to grow and become stronger. We're only as strong as we realize we are. If we don't realize how strong we can be, how much stronger we could be, and maybe how undervalued your strength or undermining your value of your strength is, that's a big loss. You have to be able to test that. Prepare yourselves for the next test, for the next level, the next level of love, I guess is what it comes down to. Loving yourself more. I just think about it so much. We are all so undervalued by each other. I just had to think about that for a second, because if we don't think about that, then we can't really allow your mind to soak up that information. I was watching a video yesterday and I had to just stop and listen and just let the information sink in. I don't exactly remember what specific documentary I was watching. It might come to me in a second. But we need to be aware of information is as valuable as action, morality, breathing, action, not acting, when you don't act. And I think people are undervaluing so much. And maybe because I talked about this yesterday, things degrade. It's natural. Things degrade, things rust, things lose value. But morality, heart, fire, courage, curiosity, that's a decision within yourself. Because you're not valuing yourself more. Because you're allowing the degradation to happen, okay? And whether you're addicted to something, and that's pretty much why things degradation happens, is through addiction, or it's habitual manner, or maybe you have been through something really hard, traumatic. By picking yourself up and together and pulling yourself together, you are saying, no, I will not degrade myself, become rusted out and old. I will stay strong, pull myself together, pull myself up, and become stronger than I was before. That's the beautiful thing about humans. We can do that, especially in this day and age. You can strengthen yourself so easily by the things that you do, by your actions. And it starts with love. It starts with a 4-letter word. It starts with a breath, then a thought, then a decision, followed with action. And then you repeat that over and over and over until it starts to become not something so hard, but something normal. It's as if you couldn't stop. It's as if, why would you stop? Why would you stop growing? Why would you stop building? Why would you stop when you're so in it? You're already going through it. You're already in it. Why get off? Because the moment you get off, things cling on to you. These parasites of negative energy and negative thoughts that are just going to eat you alive slowly. And I don't want that for anybody. Empowerment happens within you. What's the right word? It is effective on so many levels, for yourself, for your family, for other people. It's infectious. It's kind of like the power of a smile, right? You smile, and then somebody else smiles, and the next thing somebody else is smiling, and then somebody else is smiling, and or saying hello, That is like paying it forward energetically wise, okay? And I like French people because they are so very polite for the most part. And they don't have to be. I mean, they're tough as shells on the outside. And Americans are pretty polite too. They're very nice on the outside. I know Americans better, so I feel like it's always for the wrong reasons. But at least they're polite, right? It's good to be polite. Polite, it's a very superficial level of love. And I think we just need to be polite to each other. We need to be kind enough to open doors, let people in, pay it forward, you know? Buy somebody a cup of coffee. Um, Something I do with my colleague is every Friday, we exchange who buys the other person a cup of coffee. Or a cup of coffee, a chocolate, pain chocolat, chocolate bread. So tomorrow is my day. And I'm excited. Tomorrow we're having Japanese, we're having our second week, finishing our course for Japan. And we're going to be having a Japanese party, Le Fête de Japon. And it's going to be exciting. I'm excited for it because the kids are going to be getting their le gâteau de Japon, their little Japanese cakes, which aren't really cakes, they're just little cookies that are Japanese with a little message inside them, which are actually from China, originally from China. And they're going to get their chopsticks and getting to practice using chopsticks, and they were learning how to count from 1 to 10, and it was a blast. And it's great. It's great getting to teach kids because I feel empowered. I feel powered into positivity, and I don't know. I just really think that little things make the big things. Okay, grains of salt create deserts. All right, drops of water create oceans. Single people create movements. One idea can change the world. And it's true. It's true. Look at Bitcoin. It's doing it every single day, 10 minutes at a time. One user, one transaction. All of the very things that are happening behind and around Bitcoin are beautiful. I don't even know how much I think and talk and discuss and believe in Bitcoin. It's insane. It's going to be... I hate to even put the idea of religion back into conversation because that's not what I want. That's just like the wrong word, or governance. I don't want to say those words at all. But I believe that Bitcoin is changing so many people and giving them hope. This idea that religion was supposed to do, religion is supposed to give people hope and faith. I think it's the complete opposite. I think it gives them fear and doubt within themselves. Governance is supposed to help protect and securitize and make motion to keep the things good and the right righted and the wrong righted as well. And the wrong paid, they have to pay for their wrongdoing. And it doesn't. Governance in this day and age is criminality. And the most criminal people in the world are the politics. They make, the politics make criminals look like a problem child in school compared to what they do, compared to the action that they're making. And it's very important that we keep talking about that. It's very important that we keep talking about how people have been lied to and are led to believe for so long that governance, political positions, politics are evil. Religious leaders, mainstream media reporters, and I hate to say it, but anybody who really realizes the truth isn't what it is and still pushes this narrative and doesn't talk about it, you're not helping. So it's just one of those things that eventually I hope Bitcoin takes down. I hope Bitcoin wakes people up from religion and gives them real faith and hope and devotion for a positive change. I hope that Bitcoin governs the very politics and banks that deserve to be. I think people aren't there yet. I think that the is so big, there's no way that it could be easily removed. But maybe before I die, we will start to see the banks systematically fall fast, faster than they're falling now, faster than the fiat dollar that's falling. And the fiat dollars are falling so slowly because they're giving hope to people who want to find, who don't really want change. They only think about themselves because they don't care about society. They don't care about sovereignty. They don't even care about themselves really, because if they did, then they would realize that their very actions are worthless and don't really help themselves. We will see. We will see what happens, how it happens, when it happens. I don't want to say if it happens because I know it's happening right now. But we'll just wait, you know. Keep investing as you can into Bitcoin. We'll try to give you guys some positive reports this weekend, some news reports. It's been so long since I've really gotten down and read some reports and been able to connect the dots and read between the lines to those evil control systems. Hopefully, this year is going to be a massive step up for the people and a step down for peer-to-peer systems, guys. That's what we want. Free markets, sound money, truth, transparency. The word reality doesn't even come into, you can't even, you can't even really, pardon me, this is going so slow that I actually just don't usually do that. You can't even say the word reality. I can't say the word reality and really say, and feel comfortable with it, because reality, to me, is the Matrix. That's what it is to me. It's not real. It's not reality. Reality to me is reality. Reality to me is the Matrix. That's reality. We'll get there. We will get there eventually. And when we do, well, here we are back. Yeah, it's funny because I just don't see reality the same way anymore because of how the world has been lied to for so long about things like fake book and banks and governance, and it's far from what it's supposed to be. You look at the whole history of language, and you go into the history of language, and you go into the history of the words that we use, and you start to realize that the very words around us don't mean what they're supposed to mean. And that blows my mind. Not really, in a sense, because I know what's going on. At first, it was like mouth-dropping, jaw-dropping. Even the word ball is supposed to mean, if you go in the history of Baal, it's this devil, it's this goat god, Baal. And we're saying it all the time. Games with a ball. That's the most number one downtime for people, is playing a game with a ball. And that's, if if you look at the history of the words, you know that it is a demonic god, a Luciferian god. Very blows my mind, so. But yeah, guys, they don't want you to value yourself. They don't even want you to know what your worth is. Because if you do, then you're not easy to control. If you're realizing that the very words you're using, that you value things inappropriately, meaning you value your sins, I guess not sins either, but, you know, easy, comfortable life versus a hard-worked, upstanding life, then you'll be happy. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's just mind-blowing. It really is. Community, guys. Self-love, self-value, self-preservation, hard work, sound systems, actions, morality, truth. That is real. Yeah, that's all I want to say, guys. I hope you guys have invested some time into yourself over these talks. The value of oneself is how much you realize how valuable you are. They say, or I say, I've always been like, what is the reason for life? Whatever gives your life reason. That's it. If there's something in your life that gives it reason for being here, my reason is for change, for growth, for dealing with uncomfort, for sharing, opening, enlightening, empowering, motivating, informing, introducing, invoking, anything that you can do to positively make things stand up to a higher umph, to give you more value. That's going to last a long time. A little bit longer than other things. That's what I live for. You guys. Me. Doing things to help other people. Do other things for other people. Valuing our differences. Valuing your identity. Valuing whatever it is that you undervalue. Valuing the very things that you're not aware of. The air, the happiness, the colors you can see, the feeling. Go out there and go do some hard work, sweat a bit. And feel what it feels like to have some hard work done. Thank you guys so much for listening. I can't do this without you. It's always been for you. Please smash the like button. Don't forget, guys, if you want to make the world better tomorrow, do things today. Put some more value in yourself. Value tomorrow, today. More so. Water your own enlightenments, things that are going to make you happier and enrich your life. Tout le monde de Paris. Thank you, everybody from Paris. And I hope you guys are having a thirsty Thursday. You're thirsty for more information, for more enlightenment. And until the next time, au revoir.